Okay, we have everything loaded. I have the tarp and the rope over there to tie everything up. There's an engine stand in here. The other end of it is connected to the diesel engine right underneath there. Got the seats, brand new fender, brand new brake line coiled up. It was cheaper to do it that way and put the fittings on and flare it than it was to buy all the brake lines. 3 extra rims, a Unimog S wheel that can be put back on eBay and sold. Extra carburetors, a couple of extra valve covers from the engines, extra oil pans and such. Those can be put back on eBay and sold. This is the convertible top frame. This is actually a ladder, this being the platform right here. This is a ladder that hooks onto the side of the bed. These rails with the grating on them, the big heavy ones, both this one and this one, fit across the bed like hunting seats. This is the windshield in the box. Have to excuse my allergies. I've been cutting grass and moving stuff and loading things every day, all day, making dust. 2 radiators. These radiators sell for around $500–600 a piece. This is the crankshaft for the 2.8 engine. There is a cylinder head for the 2.5 and 2.8 engine. That block back there is for the 2.8 engine. This is the spare transmission. There's extra engine parts. There's the air compressor right there in the middle with the pulley. The oil pump for one of the engines. Those oil pumps sell for about $200 used. There's some of the sheet metal, the doghouse right there. Back behind the doors is the rocker panels, the cab corners, the front pieces, which are kind of cut out right there, all the other stuff. I do have all the metal to cover this. I have all the metal for the doghouse. That all bolts and clips together. The pedal assembly is covered by a piece of metal, and I have a new rubber for that. This metal right here will have to be replaced, but you can just use box section steel, and I have these pieces for the cab corners and the new rocker panels and the fender and all that stuff. There's a new windshield rubber seal. Like I said, the new windshield in the frame, or the frame. This is the new transmission with the PTO box on the side. All of the levers and such for the for the differential locks, everything's in here. Like I said, the seats, there's the air filter box, bolts right inside the engine compartment. The heavy duty generator for the Unimog. There is a Unimog distributor. You see that the wires bolt on for watertight sealing. There's a couple other Unimog distributors in here. Those again can be sold. All the other stuff, linkages, there's throttle linkage down there. A lot of this stuff is all labeled. There are some loose pieces, but the important stuff is labeled. There's 2 extra brake drums there. Inside this box, we'll climb down here. Okay, there's pistons in the bag. That's the number 1 piston for the 2.8 engine. If we move all this stuff out of the way, you can see there's 2.8 oil pan bolts. Here's a bracket, bolts in a bag for that. All this stuff is all bagged and labeled. There is some brand new parts inside the house that will go with the truck, but they are inside the house to keep them away from the weather. This large box here is a toolbox, about 6-inch deep toolbox, and a 100-gallon gasoline fuel tank. So if you want to use the gas engine for that, I'm pretty sure it can be converted for diesel too, seeing as how diesel is less volatile than gasoline. But that's all the parts and everything with it. I know it kind of looks like it's all half-assed thrown in here. Trust me, it was set in here. Nothing was thrown, nothing was tossed. It's just a whole lot of stuff. The spare axle is underneath there. Like I said, the spare transmission, the 6-cylinder or 5-cylinder OM 617 diesel, and that is an OM 617A, the turbo diesel. Like I said, there's all kinds of extra parts and such. Some of this stuff is old, like the brake lines are old, but they're there to model the new brake lines after so that you can mount them easier. I kept all that stuff. But everything's there. The side door windows are inside the house. The new clutch and everything is still in the box inside the house. There's probably $1,000, $2,000 some odd dollars worth of stuff inside the house. So that's all going with it. So the cab's on there. Let me climb down and give you a better view of the cab. Okay, this fender is the damaged one, so that one does have a replacement. I started cutting all this out, cutting the spot welds and everything, but I couldn't get past the little crotch vents right here. I didn't know how to do that, so I just kind of left it, but you can see the metal underneath it is good. These pieces, all you have to do is, I guess, trim around there. I'm not real sure. Bodywork person could figure that out. Like I said, the bottom here needs to be welded, and then I have this piece that covers all that. I have the new rocker panel that covers all this. The winch bumper is also in there. I forgot to mention that. The winch bumper's in there. Like I said, on this side, I started to cut that out too. I don't think this side had a fender. I'm not really sure. I don't remember. Again, I have the rocker panel for this side. I have the cab corner for this side. And of course, the doors and everything, and the convertible top and all that. Looking under here, you've got the new park brake cables not hooked up. This is a very important piece. This is the PTO box. The lever is up top to run that, so that will run the PTO off the front to the winch, or you can run it off the rear through supports all the way to the back. All the levers and such have been all repainted and redone. Might want to give those a touch up. This is a new old stock transmission, 3 of 78. Bed frame was painted. I've had this cardan tube off, the axle tube or torque tube. Rebuilt the gearboxes because they were leaking, so I redid all that, new wheel cylinders and such. You can see I have not attached the brake lines up there at that little T, so the brake lines need to be built. This is the new front axle. This is a brand new 0 mile front axle. So everything still looks new. It's a little, not really rusty, but just weathered because of it hasn't been used. It was mounted about 3 years ago, and I just didn't get back on the truck. So, but you can see new brake lines and everything. These gearboxes do not have oil in them. They need to be filled with oil. The differentials also do not have oil in them. Before this truck drives, it has to have oil in these gearboxes and the differentials, or you will roast a gearbox. Everything else is on there. You can see the transmission still has the plastic sock around the input shaft. So that's the truck. Everything's together. I didn't paint the bed sides or anything. I was going to have that done. But everything is there. Got the tarp. I'm going to wrap everything up. And she'll be ready to roll out. The battery boxes were very badly rusted. I was going to relocate the battery so that I have a higher breakover angle right here. I didn't like all that stuff hanging down, all the boxes hanging down. The fuel tanks were also removed. On this side, bracket holes being right there, but I do have the brackets in the truck. I saved all those. The 1, 2, 3 brackets. I just didn't like having all that stuff hanging down, especially fuel tanks hanging down right there. If you go off-roading and hit something, you're going to puncture a fuel tank. I didn't really like that idea. That's why I bought that tank. But there's a bunch of extras that you can sell. I think that's a starter off a Mercedes car. Carburetors off Mercedes car. Those Solexes can be sold. They can be put on anything just about. Extra bell housings, adapters and such. Extra sets of carburetors and valve covers. All this stuff will sell on eBay because it all it all fits the old Mercedes 220, 250, and 280 sedans. So that's all money you can get back. I just have no time to eBay it. I'm eBaying the whole truck, selling everything. I've got to empty my storage and clear a bunch of stuff out. So there you have it.